It's 1944. Germany's gutted to its core, and Hitler's clawing at the dregs. Old men with shaking hands and rheumy eyes. Boys too young to shave or know a woman. Lunatics clutching rifles they can't aim. This is the unhinged Volkssturm. This is his last rabid horde clawing out of the Reich's smoldering ashes. Berlin's in a husk of jagged ruins. Soviet tanks grind 300 miles east. Allied bombers rain 40,000 tons of hell a month from the west. 2 million Wehrmacht lie dead in muddy graves since 1939. And he needs bodies. Any bodies. He needs to plug the bleeding gaps tearing his empire apart. They're unhinged, charging T-34s with shovels and kitchen knives, screaming blood oaths over shattered streets littered with glass and corpses, dying in droves under a storm of shells and steel. He unleashes them, eyes twitching in his bunker as reports flood in, until their chaos twists his war into a snarl he can't unravel, a wildfire he can't douse. These aren't soldiers. They're an unhinged, soul-crushing storm he's afraid to use, a rabble that could break him as fast as the enemy. Welcome to Through the Ages, where we rip open history's darkest secrets. Before we plunge into this unhinged descent, hit subscribe and ring the bell to join hundreds uncovering history's truth, told like never before. September 1944. Hitler's Reich is bleeding out. 2 million Wehrmacht dead since 1939. Soviets 300 miles from Berlin's gates with 1 million boots ready to stomp it flat. Allies hammering 40,000 tons of bombs monthly on factories, homes, and children's playgrounds are turned to craters. He decrees the Volkssturm October 18th. 6 million men, 16 to 60, no training, just rifles, shovels, and blind fanaticism to hurl at the encroaching jaws of defeat. Gauleiters arm 1 million by November 1st. Boys fresh from Hitler Youth rallies with swastikas tattooed on their dreams. Old men limping from Great War trenches with lungs still scarred by mustard gas. Swearing oaths on tattered flags in Munich's bombed-out squares. Voices cracking with fear, fury, and desperation. Volkssturm recruit Hans Klein, 14, writes home October 20th. They gave me a gun, said kill or die. I shook but screamed yes. My father's 61, too old. They took him too. His cane's his weapon. Berlin drafts 50,000 in a week. 10,000 rifles handed out from dwindling stocks. The rest clutch spades, kitchen knives, anything metal they can swing. Women weep as sons and grandfathers march off in mismatched boots. General Alfred Jodl warns October 22nd in a bunker meeting, voice tight. They're rabid, untrained. We'll lose control fast. This isn't an army. It's a mob with no leash. Propaganda Minister Joseph Goebbels crows on radio October 25th. The Volk rises, unbreakable, a wall of iron will. But Hitler needs them bad. 200,000 Wehrmacht fall in August alone. Eastern front lines dissolve into a red tide. Their chaos gnaws his gut. 1 million untested souls he can't leash. A gamble born of dread and necessity. Reichsfuhrer SS Heinrich Himmler pushes on October 23rd. Arm them all, every breath fights. It's a soul-crushing roll of the dice he's forced to throw, hands trembling over maps. October 21st, 1944, Soviet tanks smash into East Prussia, 600,000 strong with 8,000 guns roaring, and the Volkssturms flung into the fire. 30,000 unhinged souls massed at Nemmersdorf's edge under a sky black with smoke. Boys 16, men 60, charge T-34s with Panzerfausts stolen from Wehrmacht stocks. 200 tanks burn in flames that light the frozen night, but 10,000 die in 3 days. fields soaked red with their guts, bodies torn by shrapnel and treads, screams swallowed by artillery thunder. Survivor Karl Müller, 17, scribbles in a ditch, October 24th. I fired. Tank exploded. My squad ran at bayonets, screaming, gone in minutes. I hid under Hans's corpse. His blood froze on my face. Berlin hears the echo. 200 Nemmersdorf civilians massacred by Soviets October 22nd. Throats slit. Women nailed to barn doors. Volkssturm's chaos blamed. Some flee into woods with stolen coats. Others loot homes for vodka and bread. A few fight to their last breath. Rifles jamming in the mud, hands blue with cold. Gauleiter Erich Koch rants to Hitler October 25th over a crackling line. Their beasts, unleashed, uncontrollable, half ran like cowards, half died like dogs. General Georg Hans Reinhardt cables October 26th from Königsberg. They're a liability. Soviets cut through. We lost 5,000 in a night. They shoot at shadows. Volkssturm officer Wilhelm Becker logs October 23rd. Boys cried for mothers. Old men fell clutching hearts. We burned 10 villages, retreating. Hitler's afraid. 600,000 Reds advance, chewing 50 miles a day. His rabble's a bleeding wound he can't stitch shut. A butcher's tally he can't deny. It's a soul-crushing slaughter he can't steer. March 7th, 1945. Allies crossed the Rhine at Remagen's bridge. A steel dagger plunged into Germany's west, and Volkssturms thrown into Cologne's rubble. 50,000 unhinged shadows against a storm of Sherman tanks and B-26 bombers. Old men with Great War medals pinned to threadbare coats. Boys with no boots on frost-bitten feet. Face 40-mile-a-day armored thrusts. 500 die in 12 hours under 5,000 U.S. shells. Bridges lost to the First Army. 1,000 flee into forests clutching rifles they can't reload, tripping over roots in panic. Volkssturm fighter Otto Braun, 62, scribbles March 8th in a basement, ink smudged with tears. I shot, missed, my hands shook, then ran. They're kids, dying for nothing under those tracks. I saw Fritz, 15, crushed flat. U.S. Lieutenant John Carter logs March 9th from a jeep, voice cold. They charged, shovels against tanks. We mowed them down, pitiful, like shooting strays. Blood ran in the gutters. Berlin reels, 20,000 Volkssturm desert by March 15th, looting homes for stale bread, shooting officers who bark orders through cracked megaphones. 500 Wehrmacht dead in the retreat, bridges blown too late. Rhine defenses a ghost. General Walter Wenck snarls to his staff March 10th in a shelled command post. They're a plague, wild, useless. I've got no lines left. They torched our own ammo dump. U.S. Private Daniel Hayes recalls March 11th. We found him hiding. Old guy begged. Kid shot at us. Both dead in 10 seconds. Hitler's fear spikes. Allies take 50,000 Wehrmacht prisoners in a week across the Rhine. 300 tanks roll unopposed. His rabble breaks ranks, a flood he can't dam, a nightmare he can't wake from. It's a soul-crushing rout he can't stop. April 16th, 1945. Soviet artillery opens on Berlin. 1.3 million troops crashing in with 36,000 guns. And Volkssturm's the Reich's dying gasp. 100,000 unhinged bodies clogging streets choked with ash and brick. Boys 12 years old, men 70 with canes and cataracts. Dig trenches with spoons under 200,000 shells that turn buildings to dust. 5,000 die in 2 days. Zoo Flak Tower, a tomb of twisted steel and screams. 50-ton concrete slabs crushing bones. Volkssturm recruit Fritz Weber, 15, writes April 18th in a bombed-out attic, pencil trembling. I stabbed a Russian, blood everywhere. My hands won't stop shaking. Karl's head's gone, rolled down the stairs. Old men fire from shattered windows. 10,000 civilians caught in crossfire, shot or buried in rubble. 8,000 Volkssturm dead by April 25th. Bodies piled in Spandau's ruins, rats gnawing at frozen limbs. General Helmuth Weidling roars to his aides April 20th over the bunker's hum and distant blasts. They're mad. Shoot anything, even us. I found 3 dead by their own, throats cut. Berliner Anna Schultz whispers April 22nd. Kids with rifles shot my neighbor. They're lost, crying as they kill. Hitler's bunker trembles. Down 2,000 Wehrmacht since April 1st. Soviets 50 miles deep. 100,000 civilians trapped. His unhinged horde turns inward, a rabid pack chewing its own flesh, a city eating itself alive. It's a soul-crushing implosion he can't leash. May 2nd, 1945, Berlin's ash. Hitler's dead April 30th by his own hand in a bunker stinking of petrol, and Volkssturm's unhinged remnant fights on in the Spree River's ruins, 20,000 shadows refusing the end under a sky thick with smoke. Boys shoot at ghosts in the haze. Old men collapse under 50,000 Soviet boots closing the noose. 5,000 die by May 7th. Reichstag a grave of broken rifles and shattered oaths. 800 artillery rounds an hour pounding them to dust. Survivor Paul Schmidt, 16, logs May 3rd in a flooded cellar, paper wet with sewer muck. I fired till ammo ran dry, friends fell. I hid in a sewer crying. Rats ate Günther's face. His eyes stared back. Soviets take 10,000 prisoner. Half starve in camps by June 1st. Bones poking through skin like twigs. The rest scatter, looting corpses for boots and crusts. Knives flashing in the dark. General Karl Dönitz, new Führer, cables May 5th from Flensburg, voice breaking. They're lost, wild to the end. Stop them. They're torching what's left. I've got no Reich to rule. Volkssturm remnants turn feral. 2,000 shot by Wehrmacht stragglers enforcing surrender by May 10th. Streets choked with their blood. 300 civilians killed in the crossfire. General Vasily Chuikov grins May 8th over vodka. They fought like mad dogs, died like flies. Berlin's ours, a ruin they handed us. Soviet Private Ivan Petrov recalls May 6th. Boy shot at me, 12 maybe. I bayoneted him, cried as he fell. It's a soul-crushing collapse. Hitler's fear burns out in their chaos. A Reich devoured by its own rabble. This is the breaking point. Unhinged soldiers swarm. Klein's oath stains the dirt of Munich. Müller's tanks burn in Prussia's fields. Braun's hands shake on the Rhine. 2 million Volkssturm bleed Hitler's war dry. A butcher's bill of chaos from Nemmersdorf's slaughter to Berlin's ash heap. Weber's knife drips in Spandau's ruins. Schmidt's sewer stinks by the Spree. A soul-crushing spiral torches the Reich from east to west. Hitler afraid not of Stalin or Eisenhower, but of his rabble's wild ruin. 2 million dreams drowned in their blood and madness. A nation shredded by its own desperate claws. So what sticks in your throat? East Prussia's slaughter under their boots, Berlin's ash choking their screams, or Hitler's flinch as his unhinged horde broke him? Drop it in the comments below. For more dark secrets told like never before, hit that subscribe button now. Stay tuned for our next video.